The Architect of the Soul, Deconstructing the World of Carl Jung. There is a profound observation suggesting that everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Have you ever paused to consider why a particular type of person instantly provokes your frustration? It could be the individual who constantly hogs the spotlight or the one who never ceases to sing. According to the intricate philosophy of psychoanalyst Carl Jung, this powerful reaction may point to a hidden aspect of your own being, a part of yourself that mirrors the very person you find so vexing. This is the territory of the shadow, the part of our psyche we consistently refuse to see. However, embracing this disowned self holds the potential to unlock answers to the most persistent questions we have about who we truly are. Confronting your shadow is not merely an intellectual exercise, for if you fail to do so, you risk slowly becoming the very thing you despise. The man who mapped the mind. Imagine the kind of individual willing to dedicate an entire lifetime to plumbing the depths of the human mind. Does such a pursuit make one more human, or does it require trading a piece of one's own humanity to find meaning? This is a dilemma faced by history's greatest thinkers, and Carl Jung was certainly not spared from this fate. As a psychiatrist and psychoanalyst, Jung is celebrated as a pioneer who did more than just study the mind. He charted its unknown territories like a cartographer of the soul. His work laid the foundational concepts for many modern ideas, from personality types to the concept of the inner child. Born in Kesswil, Switzerland in 1875, Jung was the son of a pastor. While he respected his father, he found the rigid religious doctrines of his upbringing too confining to carry into adulthood. This early conflict between skepticism and spiritualism planted the seeds for his later, more genuine exploration of the unconscious mind. As a child, Jung spent a great deal of time alone, lost in daydreams and deep reflection. He would later identify this period as his first formative encounter with the unconscious, a realm that would become the central focus of his life's work. Initially set on a career in medicine, Jung's path shifted towards psychiatry, driven by a growing interest in mental illness. This fascination was intensified by a personal crisis in his mid-30s, which he described as a horrible confrontation with the unconscious. During this time, he experienced powerful visions and heard voices, leading him to fear he was on the brink of psychosis or schizophrenia. One can only wonder what might have become of him without his advanced knowledge of mental illness. He could have easily been another nameless victim of his era. Thankfully, he emerged from this turmoil with profound insights. In 1900, these experiences led him to work at the Burghölzli Psychiatric Hospital in Zurich, where he began his studies of patients with schizophrenia and first encountered the work of Sigmund Freud. An exchange of letters blossomed into a strong friendship and an intellectually stimulating partnership. Jung quickly became Freud's protege, the man Freud believed was destined to carry on his psychoanalytic legacy. Charting the psyche. A new world map. Jung, however, could not remain confined to Freud's theories. He sought to expand on them, often in radical ways. While Freud was heavily focused on repressed sexual desires and childhood experiences as the primary shapers of personality, Jung believed the mind was far more than a storage unit for past traumas. He saw the psyche as a dynamic, self-regulating system that constantly strives for balance and development. He proposed that it consists of three distinct layers. 1. The ego. This is the conscious mind, your sense of self that interacts with the world. It's the inner voice you hear in your head, the part of you that is aware you are reading these words right now. 2. The personal unconscious. This layer acts as a personal reservoir for forgotten memories and suppressed emotions. It contains all the experiences, thoughts, and feelings that have been pushed out of conscious awareness, and it is highly unique to each individual. 3. The collective unconscious. Here is where Jung broke new ground. He theorized that beneath our personal unconscious lies a deeper, universal layer shared by all human beings. This collective unconscious is populated by archetypes, primal symbols, themes, and motifs that appear in myths, dreams, and stories across cultures that have never had contact. The recurring myth of the dragon, for instance, found in vastly different parts of the world, is an example of a shared archetype. The archetypes, blueprints of human experience. For Jung, these archetypes were crucial for defining human behavior. He identified four as being the most influential on our lives. The persona. This is the mask we wear in public, the curated version of ourselves we present to the world, shaped by societal expectations. The shadow. This is the part of ourselves that we deny, reject, and hide. It is the culmination of our repressed desires and impulses, everything we would never admit to being. The anima and animus. Jung proposed that men possess an inner feminine side, the anima, while women have an inner masculine side, the animus. Integrating these contrasexual aspects was key to achieving psychological balance. The self. This represents the ultimate goal of Jungian psychology. The self is the unification of the conscious and unconscious minds, resulting in wholeness in a state he called individuation. Beyond these four, other compelling archetypes exist, such as the pure eternus, the eternal child, which reflects a person who resists growing up. This Peter Pan syndrome is often seen in individuals who seem stuck in a rebellious teenage phase, avoiding responsibility and living in a fantasy version of themselves. Another is the senex, the wise old man, a symbol of wisdom and guidance that often appears in dreams or stories as a mentor figure, like Obi-Wan Kenobi in Star Wars. The inevitable break with Freud. Despite their close friendship, the fundamental differences in their worldviews made a rift between Jung and Freud inevitable. The disagreement was more than professional, it was deeply ideological. Freud's insistence that sexual desires were the primal driver of all human behavior felt far too narrow to Jung. Jung argued that spirituality, myths, and the universal human search for meaning played an equally vital role in shaping the psyche. This ideological chasm never healed. Jung's departure from Freud's inner circle was not just a personal falling out, it signaled a major split in the field of psychology itself. Freud's legacy evolved into psychoanalysis, while Jung carved out a new path called analytical psychology, an approach that emphasizes personal growth, symbol interpretation, and the inner journey towards self-discovery. Into the shadow, the work of integration. Imagine you're at a party and encounter a loud, attention-seeking person trying to start a dance circle. You roll your eyes, thinking you could never be like that. But what if that irritation is not just a simple annoyance? What if it's a reflection of something buried deep inside you? This discomfort is a doorway into understanding the shadow. The shadow is our psychological junk drawer, holding all the traits we find incompatible with our self-image: jealousy, greed, spitefulness. Though hidden, the shadow seeps into our lives, often through projection. We see our own repressed qualities in other people. Consider a mother who constantly scolds her daughter for being outspoken and confident. On the surface, she seems harsh, but the shadow tells a different story. Perhaps the mother was once like her daughter, but was rejected for being too much of herself, and learned to suppress those qualities. Now, seeing her daughter embody that same boldness stirs up a deep, unresolved discomfort. She despises not her daughter's behavior, but the echoes of the younger self she worked so hard to bury. As Jung wrote, the greatest tragedy of the family is the unlived lives of the parents. This is how shadow work begins, by recognizing that our judgments often reflect inner wounds, not objective truths. The process involves befriending the monster under your bed rather than trying to slay it. By facing the parts of ourselves that have only known darkness, we reduce their power over us. This can be done through journaling about strong emotional reactions, working with a Jungian therapist, or using guided meditations to explore unresolved experiences. The goal is not to become a new person, but to become a whole person by embracing both the light and dark within. The journey of individuation. Becoming whole. Do you ever feel like a ghost in a crowded room? Present, but unseen and disconnected? This profound loneliness points to a fragmented self longing for integration. The antidote in Jungian terms is individuation. This is the lifelong process of becoming your true, authentic self. It is not about self-improvement in the conventional sense of polishing your weaknesses. Rather, it is about uncovering and integrating all the disparate parts of yourself, especially those you'd never do in a million years. When the core archetypes, the ego, the shadow, the anima/animus, are ignored, we feel alienated and try to fill the void externally with attention and validation, often amplified by social media's main character energy. We become performers in our own lives. But Jung argues this pursuit is hollow because true fulfillment comes not from being seen, but from seeing ourselves with clarity and compassion. Individuation asks you to sit with uncomfortable feelings like envy or secondhand embarrassment and ask what they reveal about your own unmet desires. Do you envy a friend's vacation photos because you long for adventure? Do you judge their weird videos because you feel pressured to always appear put together? This inner work cultivates a quiet confidence rooted in self-awareness, which lessens the need for external validation. Practical steps on this journey include creative expression. Art, music, and writing can bypass the ego's defenses, allowing hidden aspects of the self to surface. The value lies in the process, not the product. Therapeutic exploration. A trained therapist can provide a structured path for engaging with the shadow and integrating unconscious material. Method mindfulness and reflection. Carving out moments of stillness allows you to observe your emotional triggers and ask, what part of me is being activated? Dream journaling. Jung saw dreams as a language of the unconscious. Recording them can reveal symbols and patterns pointing to areas in need of integration, criticisms, and enduring relevance. Despite his profound influence, Jung's work has faced significant skepticism. The primary criticism is the metaphysical and unscientific nature of his theories. Concepts like the collective, unconscious, and archetypes are difficult, if not impossible, to test empirically. His departure from Freud's more grounded, though also debated, framework led him into territory that many critics felt was more imaginative than scientific. Jung's willingness to explore mysticism, astrology, alchemy, and religious symbolism further cemented his reputation as a thinker, straddling the line between psychology and metaphysics. Critics like Richard Knoll have argued that Jung's approach resembles a quasi-spiritual movement more than a scientific discipline, casting him as a charismatic leader rather than a psychologist. Yet for many, this is precisely his appeal. Jungian psychology offers a bridge between science and spirituality, addressing existential questions of purpose and transformation that other models often overlook. Other critiques point to the abstract complexity of his ideas. Unlike the clear, structured techniques of cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, Jungian concepts can feel slow-moving and lack clear, actionable steps for those seeking immediate relief. Furthermore, his portrayal of the anima and animus has been criticized for reinforcing outdated gender stereotypes, associating femininity with passivity and masculinity with logic, a legacy woven into modern culture. Despite these criticisms, Jung's ideas have not faded. They have woven themselves into the fabric of contemporary art, pop culture, and psychology. His exploration of archetypes and the collective unconscious fundamentally shaped modern storytelling. The hero's journey, popularized by mythologist Joseph Campbell, a student of Jung's work, is the structural backbone of countless cinematic blockbusters, from Star Wars to The Matrix. These stories resonate so deeply because they tap into the universal archetypal patterns Jung described. In an era of intense identity exploration and mental health awareness, Jung's emphasis on individuation feels more relevant than ever. His work provides a map for those seeking deeper meaning in an increasingly fragmented world. Perhaps Jung's greatest contribution lies not in providing definitive answers, but in encouraging us to ask more profound questions about the nature of our minds and the mysteries that shape our existence.